move on and talk a little bit about the Cosmos Hub and Atom, the first chain that went live using Cosmos technology, so to speak. And I think you're a big proponent of this chain minimalism idea, so that the Cosmos Hub should kind of like be a very kind of like robust chain that doesn't have too many features, because it would make it too complex. It would make it also probably more vulnerable. One big thing that I think is currently being debated is the implementation of CosmWasm on top of the Cosmos Hub, which I think one side of the argument is to have easier implementations of liquid staking module, for example. But I think your thought process is more to have less functionalities on the hub, and potentially, I guess that's where it's going to, that a hub is rather a security source to provide services for other chains in the interchain. Maybe you can share your thoughts on how you view the Cosmos Hub as of today, and how you think it should be positioned over the next years as this whole interchain economy is booming and expanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that. You know, I think I'm worried about the way that the space is evolving, because if everyone's just chasing yield, and like there's so much demand for it, it turns into this casino almost. We lose sight of the real value that could be created by focusing too much on yield generation. I think a lot of the times too, if you try to really think about where the value of that yield generating thing comes from, you'll maybe come to the conclusion that it's a nice gimmick, but it's not sufficient. So here's what I mean. Like, when it comes to staking, like liquid staking it kind of undermines the security a little bit. And if you do it well and simply, you know, if you don't put too much focus on it, and it's not like the biggest thing, right? Then it can provide real value, but the value that it should be providing, it's not that much that it's the biggest application. It should have limited utility, at least when it comes to liquid staking. Like, I see great value in shared security through the hub, but what that to me means, and maybe we're talking about different things or like the same thing in different words, and we're all confused about terminology. But the thing I would really like to see is new functionality being offered on other zones through IBC. And I'd love to see the Cosmos Hub be as simple as possible that bootstraps this ecosystem, where its main task is to provide security in the case of systemic fault. Like, blockchain can fail. We haven't really seen a big instance of it, but one day these things are going to start failing, and imagine the cascading failures that we don't even understand yet. But if you have a hub that a lot of blockchains agree to yield to be more to open up to its suggestions for how to fix the situation, then you have a more robust system. So like, okay, here's another way to put it. Like, if you have a peg zone to a proof of work chain, like, I think that's a really bad situation to like peg between proof of work, proof of stake. At some degree it's necessary, but at the same time, like, you're not going to get the same kind of flexibility that you might get if they were all part of a proof of stake system, where there's a common ground for all the stakeholders of various chains, different tokens, have this jurisdiction where they can delegate to. Then the solution would be singular, and the chains can adopt it together, and there will be order in that system. So Now, you lose that capability when you have a hub that's starting to add too many features that aren't, as like ground changing, and like really adding the surface area of complexity to it. Then it loses its shelling point. It loses its purpose of being. It's like to me, it demonstrates that it's losing focus. And so here's an example. Another example, and I'm sorry I keep meandering, but it's like hard to put these to words, right? Like with no land, I don't want no land to be this token hub to compete with the Cosmos hub for that function, because it's not our specialty. The specialty of no land is smart contract programming, right? And it would also want to incentivize like the security of Tendermint and like the underlying consensus layer, but like at its core, it wants to support a rich ecosystem of applications and focus on this language. So it wants to have a hub that it can dedicate, it can promote, and kind of just have that almost be its only like IBC connection when it comes to tokens. It wants to delegate that complexity away, and I would be happy to see that happen if the Cosmos hub stays minimal. If it starts to like meander from it and lose its like centrality in the shelling point of this like interchain, custodial financial infrastructure, then someone else should fork it, right? And then we would all like a lot of change will want that, right? So I'm happy to see, and I'm just one individual. Maybe I have something missing, right? But these are just my opinions, and we'll see where the chips fall.
Yeah.